Oh, there you are.
Oh man, people are giving stuff already.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And D Live.
Oh man, I'm gonna watch on YouTube. It's hard for me to watch the comments on both.
Yeah.
Are we live?
We are. I don't think they can hear us, though. Maybe they can. Hold on. So maybe they can. Hold on. So maybe they can. Hold on. So maybe they can. Hey everybody, welcome. I think I'm actually broadcasting now. Everybody give me a 5x5 if you can hear me. I'll be amazed if this is all working right now. We'll see. Before we get started here, I just want to make sure everybody can see me. You guys hear me? Everybody hear me? Should be able to. Robert, do you hear me?
I hear you.
Okay. Just making sure. All right.
Everyone says good.
All right, cool. So, yeah, so as you all know, we all get together here every Monday night. We do it on somebody different's channel every week. We do our Super Patriot Hour, and that will be at 1 hour from now, 10 o'clock Eastern, over at Saria Courier's channel. You can find the link for that in my description. And I hope you guys all come over there when we're done here. This will be kind of a short stream just to kind of get everybody gathered here, and then we'll move on over there. And we will have me, SJD Perspective, Robert Noir, Sarah, and American Joe over there tonight. So you should all check that out. And as well, we're doing this basically just to talk a little bit about Corona, because we know that's what everybody's talking about, wondering about. And we're just going to go through each of us, kind of just talk about what we want to talk about. If you guys want to share any articles that you want everybody to see, you can do that in the chat, and we'll try to get to those. Or you can go to our Discord channel, or my Discord channel, and you can post the link there, and I'll post it. You can find all those links in the description. So I just kind of wanted to go around here. SJG's not here yet, but I got my bro. Oh,
there I am.
What's up, Robert?
Not much. Glad to be here.
Yeah. I'm getting a little bit better at this. Not quite as cringy. It's a little bit still cringy, but
we're folksy. That's what makes us likable.
Yes. So, genuine.
Yeah.
So we'll just go around each of us here. I kind of wanted to just start off here real quick and then go to Robert pretty quickly here. But something that's kind of driving me crazy here in Ohio, they are closing restaurants and bars at 9, which is kind of weird. And, DeWine is telling us, hey, if you're not feeling good, or someone you're feeling and your family's not feeling good, you should go into work. And they're encouraging businesses to make this clear to their employees. Well, the company that my wife works for actually isn't being very clear. They're being very vague. And in fact, it almost seems like they want people to come into work no matter what. I kind of think, I don't understand this. If it's serious, seems like everybody should be staying home. It's just like my kids' school. They're out for the next month, or maybe even the rest of the year, and yet they want the kids to come into from preschool to come in for activity packets. It's like, why are you bringing people into the school for something that you can email out? Just seems kind of short-sighted on their part, and that's the biggest thing bugging me right now. What do you got, Rob?
I mean, so there's, when it comes to what I'm seeing in rural Pennsylvania here, it's the same as everywhere. Your Walmart's closing early, no toilet paper available, things like that.
Yes.
My wife works at a bank, so there's obviously things with that. My wife's sister had an internship that canceled, so we don't know. This was supposed to be her last semester before she graduates college. Now we don't know what's going to go on with that. I work in home health care, so there's a bunch of precautions and stuff, but my job will not cancel because it's one of these essential jobs. I mean, to me, what I'm thinking about is there's all kinds of things. I'm trying to find a catchy 30-second way of saying the following, which is, remember, the establishment Democrats that are now telling us, how dare you not voluntarily quarantine yourself, and the government should basically force quarantines on us. They're the same group that knew that there were risks with open borders and with the type of policies we saw in San Francisco with people defecating and using hypodermic needles in the streets. So what they've told us is, you're a bigot if you want to take reasonable precautions to prevent a pandemic. But because their policies have allowed us to avoid all of those precautions, now your life has to be severely impacted and your rights have to be severely stripped away to fight that. So instead of an ounce of prevention, now we have to have the worst case scenario where they're saying, oh, the government needs to tell you can't go out. Never forget that when election time comes. That's the group of people that these people are. They'll call you a bigot for having reasonable concerns about saying, wait a minute, if we have open borders, wouldn't that increase the spread of disease? You're a bigot for thinking that. But simultaneously, once the pandemic hits, well, then you're immoral for suggesting that you don't want to give up your First Amendment rights.
Right. And you got to wonder, and we were talking about this earlier, but is this going to go away? Like, we've never had something like this where it's so long term, everything's canceled. This stuff's kind of out of the movies, and it kind of makes me wonder about all the movies over the last decade, if they weren't kind of conditioning us, and this is kind of off topic just slightly, but right when all of this started, the whole Corona thing, right, the night after, and I was kind of dismissing it, I usually go to bed, I'll download a couple of movies and watch them as I go to bed. I download a couple of movies just at random, and I like horror, but I got this movie called The Divide. If anybody's ever seen that, it's like 2011, and It Comes at Night, which I thought was a monster movie. But apparently both of them are virus movies, virus outbreak movies. And The Divide, it actually starts out with them nuking the city, and you kind of, and they never really spell it out, but you kind of get that there's some sort of a virus outbreak and they just nuke their own city. But it's kind of crazy that all this stuff's out and it's kind of mirroring. You wonder if they're not taking advantage of that. It's almost like people are ready for zombies.
I would embrace zombies. If we got to go out, like it's going to be the flu. It can't be something neat like zombies, you know? I mean, go ahead.
No, 34,000 people died between, I just saw it up on the TV, between 2018 and 2019, 34,000 people of the flu. Do you think we're going to get anywhere near that with this? I mean, I don't know, man.
I don't know, but I don't think. I mean, H1N1 killed H1N1 killed 60,000. The beginning assessment of it was a 7% mortality rate. That's higher than they've said with coronavirus. I don't recall the media or the Dems or Obama, any of them suggesting any of the drastic actions we see now. And I don't recall people criticizing them for not doing that. So it's definitely, you know, we know that they're going to use it politically to go after Trump, to embrace ideas like, you know, Mitt Romney today came out and said he's going to propose universal basic income of $1,000 per person during
I saw that.
Coronavirus. You had de Blasio come out and suggest nationalizing industries to help fight. So it's communism in disguise. I mean, obviously they're going to push their globalist communist agenda. My big pet peeves is follows. Like, look, I'm willing to, let's be honest. There are people, I don't know what the coronavirus will be. I have my suspicions. I think that it's being blown way out of proportion, but I would be a liar if I sit here and guaranteed that to all of you. I just don't know. And neither does anyone, if we're honest. Now, I know that I've been lied to over and over by the government and by scientists and by the media, but that's neither here nor there. So let's say I'm willing to have a good faith discussion with people that think that we need to shut down commerce for 2 or 3 months or something. My question is, what's the threshold then? Every 2 years, I mean, you probably know better than me, and you follow the media even more than me. Doesn't it seem like every other year the media is hyping, oh, it's West Nile, oh, it's you know, SARS, oh, it's MRSA, it's you know, swine flu, avian bird flu. Yeah. If we set the precedent that, because the argument isn't that people are making when I speak up on Twitter places and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm skeptical of allowing the government to say that I don't have the right to assemble. That's guaranteed to me in the Constitution. What I'm told is, how dare you? You want people to die. Well, no, that's not true. Well, then just shut up and mind your business. If that's the argument that we're going to take, then what's to say that when the next West Nile comes, they don't make the exact same argument? Well, now we need to shut the government down over that. And furthermore, how long are we going to shut it down over Corona? 3 months? How is it the exact same argument right now that's being used to shut down all these businesses and say that people shouldn't congregate and things like that? How doesn't that same argument apply 3 months from now? There's still a risk, right? Who knows? There's still a risk. And so when you unquestionably allow authority to strip you of your rights and to strip you of your freedom, it's near impossible to get them back. And even if it's being used justifiably now, if we allow it to be used without demanding critical answers and being extremely skeptical, it will be abused in the future. That's my big fear.
Absolutely. I mean, it absolutely, that's going to happen. It's almost definite. I'm kind of surprised. I mean, I've kind of fallen. If this is all a ruse, I've fallen for it. I'm kind of freaked out a little bit, and we're taking precautions. My wife last night, you know, our baby had a fever, and he was up all night last night. Although he's much better today, so that's good. But we were up, and she's freaking out. She decided to go to Meijer and do our grocery shopping last night at 2 a.m, 3 a.m. Thinking it would be dead. She found out there was people there, a lot of people actually, and I actually had her get, you know, everything we need, because we might as well. I don't know, man. I really hope it doesn't turn out to be anything, but one thing they've proven is that they can definitely get everybody, regardless of politics, to fall in the line. Although, you know, the polling supposedly shows, because the media keeps touting it, that Republicans are more likely to think it's not a big deal than Democrats. And so they're putting that out there to say, oh, Democrats are going to infect us all. I don't know if you've seen that. Yeah. That's a big narrative out of the media right now. One thing I did want to point out real quick, and anybody saw my video, you saw it, and I posted something in my community post, so you can go there to see it. But the Associated Press and a couple other of the outlets are currently trying, they're taking the claim that a lot of people are rightfully throwing out that a lot more people had died. 1,000 people died, Americans died of H1N1 before Obama declared a national emergency. Mm-hmm. Okay, that is true. He did so in October of 2009. But what the Associated Press and a few other outlets are saying is that, oh no, he actually declared a public health emergency in April of 2009. And so he got, well, for one, they're conflating the two things like they're the same thing. They aren't. The public health emergency doesn't have the same scope of that national emergency does, for one. And two, he's not even the one that announced that. It was some like low level announcement at the time. And I found it funny in the Associated Press article, which you can find in my video today. They actually say that it's the critics who are saying that are conflating the two things. It's like, that doesn't even make sense. They're saying Obama didn't declare a national emergency till 2009. And I just found that funny because that's what they're doing. They're conflating the two things.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, I think it's like what we talk about all the time. I don't think either of us claim to have all the answers on a lot of this stuff. We just like to see some sort of consistency. And so if the measuring stick is, well, Trump took too long and these drastic measures should have been put place beforehand. Well, we know 60,000 people died of H1N1. Where was the criticism of Obama there? Or if people said, hey, I think Obama handled it well there, and then why would they criticize Trump now if they didn't think he was shutting down things? That's all I'm at. Just some logical consistency.
Well, I love that they keep calling him authoritarian, and yet, once again, as usual, the Democrats are everything they accuse their opponents of being. Right. And you got de Blasio and Cuomo out there saying nationalize the industries, and you got the media touting it. Oh, yeah. And you got the View on there. Oh, all these things that we're doing, this is socialism, guys. We're really socialists. And yet, you look at Italy, they have nationalized healthcare, folks. Right. And guess what? There's no funding for research and development. They have no innovation. It's mediocre care. They have no doctors, no plan. It's like, that's what you get out of that kind of system. You get what you would expect from the government, kind of low tier quality,
That's right. And look, there's I think that it's ridiculous how a lot of people are rushing to politicize it. Particularly, we know that's going to happen. They were calling it the Trump virus before one person died in the United States, for God's sakes. So it's clear that they're going to rush to politicize it. But I mean, let's be honest, there's blame to go around. Look, I have been someone who said the Republicans need to have a better plan on healthcare, our healthcare system. I think as it needs to improve. Now, I have my own suggestions. People could have their own suggestions. But if we're going to shake the stick there and say, this is proof that it should have been improved, you're exactly right. Well, okay, but look at these countries that then allowed all these refugees to come in and allowed the free exchange of people. Now they're suffering these terrible pandemics because they wanted to be hippy-dippy and feel good and say, we leave people cross borders. Borders aren't important. They're just imaginary lines. Well, they're paying the price now. And so that's one of the things I've been saying, like, isn't it ironic? Bernie and them, they'll point to these countries and say, we're immoral because we're not modeling their healthcare system. But it's funny, Bernie doesn't point to their immigration systems because a lot of them have been getting tighter and tighter immigration controls. Yeah. So, and what you end up seeing is it doesn't matter if you give everyone free healthcare. If you don't have controls to stop a pandemic and otherwise, the healthcare is, again, there's a difference between proactive measures and precautionary measures. That's how you really stop pandemics. Just having a healthcare system in place once the pandemic hits, that helps lower the impact. But the best they could have done was to stop these flow of refugees and things like that. That's why it's so bad over there.
Yeah. And, Trump early on banned travel from China, and he got pilloried for that, of course. He's a racist. Everybody's calling him a racist. Oh, geez. Sorry, guys. Nope. He's a racist. And I'm trying to find it here, but this National Health Organization actually came out and said that he probably, they didn't say him particular. They didn't come out and say, Trump did this. So they're not like some partisan group. They said the banning travel from China likely slowed down the spread. Right. And so obviously it's going to do that. And I wonder, where that's going to lead to. Are we going to get national, the planes stopping? And then if the planes stop flying, are we getting bailouts for the airline industries again? Probably, I'm guessing. I mean, and that's a whole other can of worms. I'm sure we're going to get into all this at the stream over at the Patriot Hour, which we're probably, we'll go about another 10 minutes here. And then we'll go ahead and just start moving everybody over there. But I wanted to read a couple comments here real quick. Dale Blank, and I'm not sure about this, and let me know if you know about it. But he says, Ohio now releasing prisoners from jail on house arrest. That's concerning if that's happening. It wouldn't surprise me, but that almost even reminds, I can see why they do it, but that almost even reminds me of, Saddam letting all the prisoners out of jail before we invaded. What's going on there?
Well, I looked it up. I'd heard this today and I looked it up. So it's absolutely true, but it's a county jail. Now, if you look into the details, some of the people being released are being sent to prison, right? So there's most of the people are awaiting trial if they're in jail. So a lot of them, they're
Franklin
just
County Correctional. probably.
Right. So a lot of them they're sending back to prison. Some of them they are just releasing on bail. Some of them they're releasing on house arrest, and others they're trying to get plea agreements to basically hurry up and end. The rumor is it's because there was someone that tested positive in that facility. I mean, that's a murky area. On one hand, people are absolutely right to be outraged. Why do you want a bunch of criminals back on the street? But on the other hand, you know, if it really is just trying to send them to other facilities and limit it as much as possible, I mean, I guess it would be inhumane to leave them intentionally in a facility where the coronavirus is spreading. So, but yeah, I mean, that's the type of stuff we'll see. And make no mistake about it, a globalist agenda does include treating criminals as good as possible and treating law-abiding people like criminals. We see that with gun policy. They refuse to enforce the gun laws on the book, but they want to create more laws against guns for law enforcement, law enforced people that are abiding by the law. That's what I mean.
Right.
To affect that.
And I think you're right about that. It's just, yeah, it's all right, man. You're fine. And I think you're right about that. And Benjamin, AVS Tech, he said, we were fighting on the climate change front, but we're outflanked by their COVID-19. I think he's kind of right about that. Absolutely. I think this will probably be used to gain ground on climate change stuff. They'll probably start tying that into it. I'm surprised they haven't. Maybe they have, and I just missed it.
I mean, it's actually a brilliant strategy by the corrupt deep state and the globalists. I talked about this in terms of climate change, but they've accelerated the pedal with the pandemic. And that is this. It's hard to fearmonger about a people anymore. So the boogeyman that is Russians. The problem is me and you could actually get on FaceTime or Google Hangouts and talk to someone from Russia. Then you start to realize like, well, even if Putin's a bad dude, you know, Russian people, they aren't the boogeyman. That you could have sold that story in the Cold War, right? We sold to all Americans. These Russians were they're jealous of our blue jeans and they're waiting to fly over here and take us out. Well, now it's hard to sell that pitch to people. So what do? Well, you sell them on an invisible boogeyman, like climate change. And now the same people that were protesting against war are clamoring for the government to take their rights away in the name of solving our deaths from climate change. It's the same with this pandemic. Heck, they were like, wow, they can't believe their good fortune. All the work we've been trying to do to take people's rights away in the name of climate change killing us all in 7 years. Heck, now we could do it all this year in the name of coronavirus killing us all today. You know, so bad news. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see here what we got. I've seen a lot of this 5G. Do you know anything about this? This is getting way out of my purview, but I keep seeing people talking about 5G. I assume it's not true, but
well, I mean, who knows? I mean, here's the thing. I repeat this to everyone. I have my own beliefs on what things are. I will never make fun of someone for peddling a conspiracy ever again, because it is currently the mainstream narrative that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself. So as long as that's good enough for the mainstream, you talk about 5G all you want. I mean, I think what the implications are, there's a lot of science that I've read that says 5G could cause illness in people. It was very prevalent in Wuhan. And the argument would be, some people say that 5G is designed to kind of bring in kind of the global population control. So on paper, it's supposed to make us interconnected and be better internet. But in reality, it's designed to destroy our immune systems and make us sick. And some people are saying that 5G is what's actually causing this virus and why it's so bad. I haven't seen evidence of that, but I'm just saying, I would love to hear someone who knows more about that, but that's all I know about it.
Yeah, might have to bring somebody on that knows more about that stuff, because I used to in my younger years when I was really into UFOs and chemtrails and all that stuff, but kind of don't really read about any of that anymore. So I think we're going to go ahead and wrap this up and start to move over to get ready for the other stream. Everybody, go on over, and I'm sorry, what's her name? Sarah Corrier.
Yes.
And I will put her link in here for everybody.
By the way, she's awesome. You should check out her channel. She's very intelligent. She's actually an immigrant from the UK, and I did a show with her. It's amazing to talk to someone who lived at a place for a lot of their life where they didn't have the freedoms that we take for granted, and just how much she appreciates being a citizen of the United States.
Oh yeah, for sure. I had some friends growing up, 2 Cambodian friends, and their parents came over here literally escaping the killing fields, came over here with nothing, literally nothing but what was on their backs, and they're doing great now, and they love this country. And I think a lot of them are still Democrats, but maybe someday they'll switch over.
We'll get them,
but eventually. But go ahead and everybody head over there, catch SJG Perspective, me, Robert, American Joe, and Sarah will be talking about, I'm sure, more of the coronavirus, and they'll have a lot more angles on it, be a little bit more interesting. So head on over there, and thanks everybody for coming, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Easy.
When emergencies strike, you always see news stories of long lines of people and empty store shelves. There's no need to be a part of that chaos and the possibility of having to deal with that know what's coming are using today to prepare. You should make a plan too. Start by building an emergency food supply. And I trust and use My Patriot Supply. You can too. They're experts in emergency preparedness and have a guaranteed 2-day delivery. Disasters won't wait, neither should you. This week, save $70 on a 2-week emergency food kit when you go to my special website, preparewithdronetech.com. My Patriot food supply kits last up to 25 years in storage and include breakfasts, lunches, and dinners. Order a few today and receive a guaranteed 2-day delivery discreetly to your door. Take action so you're ready for what's coming and save $70. Those that know what's coming are preparing. Go to preparewithdronetech.com. Preparewithdronetech.com.